the funny thing about all of this is that so much of it is just luck.
Yeah.
This is something that does not get talked about enough anywhere.
True.
So much of this stuff is just luck. People winding up with other people getting a DM from someone, people seeing an ad, it's luck. So much of this is luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how much of it do you feel like is luck versus like you grinding and putting yourself in position to have opportunities to be lucky?
I like that. For me, if you zoom out far enough, 100% is luck. But I'm typically not one of these grindy people.
Okay.
I don't like
Phrasing.
it's like, I don't know, man. It's that whole concept of like, it feels like it glorifies like the work part of it. And I don't know. Maybe this makes me something, but I'm not like wild about hard work. Like I'll work when I gotta work and I'll do what's needed. But like the idea of like glorifying the work itself as like some sort of like end in and of itself. I don't love that, but like it's weird.
Right. What I hate about that is where people make it sound like the work inevitably leads to the
that is
success.
so wrong.
And that's where I'm like, I disagree.
It's so wrong.
But to a certain extent, I feel like I feel like hard work is the prerequisite to luck, to where you have to work hard until you get lucky, because you're working hard means that you're always ready for that opportunity, that one moment that came along that randomly happened that you didn't know was going to happen. And then you were ready in that moment because you already put in the work.
Sure.
So like, to me, that's kind of how I think about it. But at the same time, you could easily spend all your life working hard and then that opportunity never even come.
That's the part I have a problem with. I think you're absolutely right that there's got to be a minimum quality standard before luck has any effect. Because if you're just unable to do the job, it doesn't matter how lucky you are because you can't do the job. You could be lucky all day and it doesn't matter because you can't do what's required to do the job.
Right.
But like at the same time, and that's the problem I have with like the sort of like glorification of the hustle thing, is that it's like, well, no, the point isn't to just work hard. Like that's not the point. Is you want to be successful. You want to do something you enjoy. You want to succeed. And that to me is the goal. And like in my view, like I think you're absolutely right about having that minimum, because you have to have some level of competency. Because I mean, I think we've all seen Instagram ads for groups that like bands that like, it's like anyone can pay for an ad campaign.
Yeah.
But like if it's not of a good enough quality, or if it's not, I mean, again, if it's badly targeted, like if it's coming to me and I don't like it, it could just be that it's badly targeted and it's great for somebody else and not just bad.
Right.
Like there's some objective standard out there and like I'm some arbiter who can decide that. But like, there's, there's a level. You got to have yeah, I get it. What'd you say?
You're kind of stepping on my toes with that comment. I feel like there is an objective standard out there, and I am the arbiter of that.
What did you? Is this like a certification that you got from like the RIAA or something?
Yeah, basically, it's John Mayer at the top.
Yes, great. You're starting in a good place. He's great.
Just kidding. I don't even necessarily think John Mayer is the greatest of all time. I just think he's fucking great. That's all.
It's hard to argue that. Yeah, he's great.
Anyways, carry on with what you're saying before I rudely interrupted again.
You were saying, about positioning. Yeah, I mean, I think that like the truth that I think you're getting at too is that there's a lot of qualified people, like especially in music, to play a tour or something. I mean, every music school is pumping out 100 people at least a year who can do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you go to some of these people who graduate from the schools that I can't graduate from, and you go, every person in this graduating class could knock this job out of the park. And and to me, the music industry, I don't know what the terminology is, but like it's gotten to this point where there's this huge multiple. There's the multiple of talent over what's actually required. Like, and this is not any kind of dig on music, modern music people. What this is like people will work their entire lives to play 11% of their potential on a tour. And I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand that. And I have been lucky enough, and my opportunities, they've been like more targeted to what I actually am able to do. I'm able to like put myself into it and it's a good fit. But like some people, like I know there are people, I'm sure there are people that spent their entire lives studying at these really at a big difficulty and expense to themselves. And then I just feel bad that they've spent all this time developing their skill that they don't get to use.
Right.
Like it drives me crazy. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right about there being like a minimum quality standard that you have to be at in order for luck to have any effect at all, or else it doesn't matter. And then I think also, like, to me, the flip side of that is like the hustle thing. I'm not one of these people that loves to like grind. I just don't.
Right.
And I guess some people do dig that, and there's, I assume, a lot of good behind it for many people. But for me, it just doesn't. I'm like a top down thinker instead of like a bottom up. Like people, at the bottom up, they'll start with like this great, awesome. They'll develop this great knowledge of like theory and this great knowledge of technique, and they'll like build on that up until final product. I like to look at the final product, maybe not be the best on the first take, but then kind of grab more information and develop on it from the top down instead of just building up this. And I think the hustle thing is like building up the bottom, building up the foundation, like you're saying. I think it might just be a difference in how people think. You know what I mean?
I feel like we think similarly on this, and that might be where the tech side of things comes in, because I really resonate with the startup company entrepreneur type approach of like you start off with the minimum viable product and then you iterate. Like you start off with that and then you just keep improving. And it's like this process that you just figure it out as you go.
I like that a lot.
So I'm similar in that.
Because it's inspirational. It's motivational. You've got something out there.
Well, yeah. Once you see the initial result, you're like, I am proud of this thing that I did initially, but it can be so much better. Let me see how far I can go with this.
And then as you learn what you could do to change it, you're motivated to change it because you have something right there to change.
Yep,
that's
exactly.
the way. Yeah, that's the way I like working.
I'm very similar to you in that regard.
I don't want to put in a ton of time and effort into something that isn't going to pay off ever. Like I know some people are better at that.
Yeah.
I just am not that good at that.
Yeah.
So it's like I want there to be something I'm aiming at.
Right. And you said earlier that like some people are just all about the hard work, and it's like you're not about that. Like you want success at some point. So to you, what does success mean?
Honestly, the number of people that I've seen that enter music and here's the prerequisite. This idea that if you make your passion into your job, you'll never work a day in your life. I have never, ever found that to be true. And I know that works for some people. It does not at all work for me. And I know a lot of other people that doesn't work for, because the flip side of that is what it also does is it takes a thing you're passionate about and it forces a profit motive onto it. It forces it into being, it makes a job out of it.
Ooh.
And like, if you're trying to make a job out of being a musician, for a lot of people, that's blasting your stuff out on Instagram to 1,000 people a day. And it's like, that's not.
Which is borderline turning your passion into an MLM at that point, because that's why everybody hates those Karens anyway.
Right.
Wait, you're telling me MLMs are bad? Yeah. Are you shitting on MLMs right now?
Yeah. Fucking Advocate.
Can't believe
Mary
you, man.
Kay.
Boss bitch.
Well, it's like
Young Living.
Well, it's like so as far as I'm concerned, like if that's if that's the situation, then like it's really weird. It's really weird because if you make it into the job, to me, I lose the thing that got me into it. And this is already happening with the conversation I had before with you about like, I'm usually, super cautious about who's using what and what rights are monitored and what, submitting it to the copyright stuff and whatever. But like, I actually don't really want to care that much about that. I want people to use this stuff. I want people to if someone finds something interesting in something I put out, I love that. No,
Yeah.
that's my point, is that I dig that.